Hi, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new, I'm Coach Shawn, and I typically speak on narcissism, but right now I'm doing a series on parental alienation. Today, this video is for alienated moms. If you're an alienated mom, I need you to hear me, because what happened to you wasn't family conflict. It was a slow motion takedown. While you were doing the work of motherhood, someone else was rewriting your story behind your back. You were the one in the trenches. You were home every day, day in and day out, wiping snotty noses, wiping bottoms, getting up in the middle of the night for feedings, running to doctor's appointments, doing carpool, volunteering at school, bringing the cookies, showing up for reading day, and signing permission slips. You were managing the household. You were managing emotions. You were taking care of your children. You were in the grit. And when your marriage started falling apart, so did you. Suddenly your ex-husband, he steps in like he's father of the year. What makes me furious is this. A lot of these men were abusing you the whole time, emotionally, psychologically, financially, and sometimes worse. And by the time you realize what's happening, you're so worn down, you're barely functioning. Many of you started self-medicating in some way. I did too. I was drinking. And please listen to me when I say this. When your marriage is collapsing, you cannot be fully present with your kids the way you want to be. You can't, because you're in survival. And I know your kids are supposed to come first. But I'm going to say something that's just a fundamental truth. The first line of the family is the marriage, the partnership, the team. Because you got married to your spouse first, and then you had your children and built your family. You're supposed to be a united front. And when the front line collapses, how are you supposed to be a good parent? How are you supposed to lead your children through life when your teammate is sabotaging you? You can't win a war if the person beside you is secretly working for the other side. And here's what a lot of mothers don't understand until later. While you were doing the daily work, raising the kids and holding down the home, many of these men were working behind your back for years, planting seeds, undermining you, portraying you as unstable, portraying you as difficult, portraying you as the problem. And you didn't see it because you weren't expecting it. It's like walking into what you think is a fair fight, and then someone picks up a rock and bashes you in the head, or someone brings a gun to a knife fight. You didn't anticipate it because you don't fight unfair. You were doing your job. You were holding up your end of the bargain. You were raising your children. You were managing the household. And a lot of the times these men were traveling and they were doing whatever it is they were doing, because when the phone starts getting hidden and the bedroom energy starts changing and the travel increases, your intuition screams something is off. And women, we just know. And when you finally lift your head up from raising your kids, often when the kids get older and they're in high school and they start driving, and you finally have a moment to breathe, you look around and realize the truth. Your marriage isn't just struggling, it's falling apart. And when you fall apart, because your marriage is falling apart, your ex used it against you. You looked unstable because your life just got blown to pieces. You were emotional because betrayal is traumatic. You looked out of your mind because gaslighting will make any human being question reality. And then here he comes, stepping in all calm and collected, and labels you an addict, unstable, mentally unwell. And the kids, because kids want to feel safe, often align with the parent who appears powerful and in control. And that part I can understand. But here's what is not acceptable, and this is what I need you to hear. A lot of these kids don't just align. They become cruel. They start performing loyalty acts for the other parent. They start adopting abusive behavior to earn approval. Some record you, then hand over that recording. Some hand things over to police. Some lie. Some provoke you and then act shocked when you react. Some actually put their hands on you. Some deliver ultimatums like they're the parent and you're the child. Do this or we'll never talk to you again. And yes, they learned it from the alienating parent. They were influenced. And like I said, I can understand that to a certain extent. They may have been manipulated. But once they become adults, they are responsible for what they chose, because adults make conscious choices every single day, whether it's to lie, steal, cheat, abandon, use someone, or do the right thing. And the brutal reality is some of them choose to do it against their own mother, the woman who gave birth to them, the woman who raised them. Does that hurt like hell? Yeah. Yeah, it does. And it is a pain that is hard to describe to anyone who hasn't lived it. But now we have to ask the question no one wants to ask. How long are you supposed to live in servitude to abuse? Because that's what it is. They abused you. They threw you away like you were nothing. It's just like your ex-spouse did. In a lot of cases, this is the part that feels unholy. They didn't just walk away while you were bleeding. Some of them kicked you while you were down repeatedly and then walked off with your ex-husband and their siblings and acted like they were having a party while you laid there on the side of the road bleeding out. I coach on this every day, and I lived it. So now we have choices, right? You're going to have pain. You are. But the extent of suffering you live in here forward is fully controlled by you, not by them. You can keep the door wide open. You can keep reaching out. You can keep trying to prove your goodness to people who are absolutely committed to misunderstanding you. You'll never get it right. You'll always get it wrong, no matter which way you turn, no matter what you do. Or you can leave the door cracked a little bit with boundaries, or you can close it. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to think, because here's the question. Will it ever be okay what they did to you? You can forgive someone and still decide you are not safe with them. You can forgive someone and still decide you will not allow access to your life without accountability and repair. And let's talk about accountability and repair for a second, because I need you to hear this clearly. I have coached for a long time, and I have yet to see an alienated child, I'm sure it's happened somewhere, on some continent, at some point in time, but come back with true remorse, full ownership, and real amends without rewriting history, without minimizing, without blame shifting, and without excuses. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm not saying if you're sitting around and waiting for that Hallmark moment, it's never going to happen. But, it's kind of like betting on the lame horse. If I was a betting woman, I wouldn't bet on that horse. It's not likely they're going to get down on their knees and say, "Mom, I'm so sorry. I want to make it right. This is not what I want." That's not the most likely outcome. And I would not bet my life that was going to happen. And that's what a lot of you are doing. You're waiting for that reconciliation. Because think about what they would have to admit. They would have to say, "I participated in abuse." They would have to admit, "I sided with an abusive parent." They would have to admit, "I helped destroy my mother." They would have to admit, "I turned people against my own mom." They would have to admit that they tried to control you. They would have to admit that they punished you. They would have to admit, I kept your grandchildren from you. That requires a lot of character and humility. That requires a conscience that's intact. And in order to do the things that they already did, in order to do the things in the first place, tells me they do not have the emotional maturity to own it. Now, before people start typing away, let me say this. Some of you did truly struggle after betrayal. I did too. Some of you did spiral. Some of you did drink too much. Some of you used medication improperly. Some of you were in a mental health crisis because your nervous system was shattered. But where was the compassion? Where was the mom, we love you and we're worried about you and we want you to get better and we're going to stand by you? Because what I see over and over is not love, it's control. It's conditional access. Do what we say or we're going to disappear. And then ironically, when you do get better, when you heal, when you come out of the fog, when you look back and go, what was that? That's when it gets interesting. Because when you were on the floor, they came running because it gave them power and a role to control. But when you stand up and you get clarity, and when you get strong, and when you stop begging, and when you stop performing, when you start living like a woman who knows her worth, who knows she's been abused, who knows her children abused her too, that's when they run. Because the healthier you become, the more the lies get exposed, and they can't have that. So here's what I want to leave with you. Most of us are in our 50s. Many of us are in our 60s. We do not have unlimited time on this earth. We already spent decades giving a life to a marriage and to children who did not honor us. Do you really want to spend your remaining years suffering the same way, waiting on people who may never come back? And even if they do come back, which is, they usually pop in and out, moments of crisis or when they need something. But the repair, how do you fix that? How do you fix that? It's broken. There has already been so much suffering. Don't you deserve to live? Travel if you can. Build your body back. Build your mind back. Make new friends. Change your environment. Create peace. Create beauty. Create a life that feels like freedom. And here's the hardest truth that will set you free if you let it. Your kids are living their lives, and they're not losing sleep. They're not losing sleep over what they did to you. And your ex would really like it if you would just disappear. Because then he can control the narrative forever. So tonight when you put your head on your pillow, I want you to think about you for a change. What you want. Where do you want to live? How do you want to look? Where do you want to travel? What kinds of friendships do you want around you? How do you want to spend next Christmas? Because it's your turn now. And if you take nothing else from this video, take this. You are not required to spend the rest of your life paying the price for someone else's cruelty to prove that you are a good person or that you really loved them. Your ex-husband's cruelty and your children's cruelty, that's on them. But you get a life too. Go live it. Go live it.